Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this evening. I'm not going to be before you too long. Not going to be before you too long. I just wanted to come before you and have a brief conversation with you. And I want to ask the question, and I would love to have your input. If you get an opportunity, give us a call as well. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We'd love to have your input. As I said, I'm not going to be before you long. It's a brief conversation we're going to have today, but I definitely want to have it with you and ask you the question: What is what is racism? What is racism? People talk about it, they say different things about it all the time, but I want to have this brief conversation and ask you the question: What is racism? The phone lines are open. Give us a call. And give us your take on it. I mean, is it something that we can deal with? Is it something that people, some people say we've been dealing with for so long that we never do you believe that? What is racism? Why does racism have such a hold on certain people? Why can't people get along? Why can't people love each other as they should? What is the issue with this whole thing called racism? What is very difficult. I was about to ask the question, where did it start? But it's very difficult to understand where it started. I'm more concerned. I'm actually more concerned about where is it headed? Where is it going? What do we need to do individually and collectively? What do we need to do as a people? And when I say as a people, it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, or people that are on that side. What do we need to do as a people to get past and get over this thing called racism? Or is it something that some people say it will always be here? Do you believe that? Do you believe that racism will always be here? Do you believe that there is a way that we can get over this thing called racism? What will it take? Racism. I have one of the issues that I have with that. Let me start here. I have great kids. I have two grandkids, two grandsons, and we've been in that area too long. Um, when we go to when we go to here in Atlanta, they have um, they have a play area for kids. It's a play area that they set aside for kids. When you get through there, you always find kids playing. You always find children playing in that play area. It's a beautiful thing inside, but also it's outside. The elements, the air conditioning, kids are running around like they're rock stars. There we go. Much better. Much better. I hope that fixed the situation. They saying they couldn't hear me in the beginning, but we're talking about racism, and man, I had a huge spiel that I was putting out there, man, and they said they couldn't even hear me, Lord Jesus. But my thing is this right here. I was talking about how racism is a terrible thing. Check, check, check. Okay, there it go. How racism is a terrible thing, and how you can take kids to the park, and regardless of the color, they'll get out there at their young, tender, innocent age, and they'll play amongst each other, and I have a great time playing amongst each other. They would do that without hesitation. What happens from the time that they're so young and so innocent and just playing with each other, now, not looking at color, not looking at how they look or anything of that nature? What happens from that point? Okay, thanks, Badger. Appreciate it. What happens from that point to when they become older and they hate people that don't look like them? What happened? How did this thing called racism, how did it get implemented into our children? I was talking about if I met a blue person, if I met a blue person, and yeah, Badger said toxic teaching. Absolutely, absolutely. If I met a blue person, and if that blue person stole my wallet, now I know this blue person, and we know there's no blue people. That's why I use that as an example. And if this blue person stole my wallet, am I to, in my mind, am I to think that every blue person that I meet is a thief, is dirty, is going to steal from me, is going to try to do some harm to me because of the fact that this one individual? That's what happens a lot of times. A lot of times, that's what happened. And then, if this blue person came to me and stole my wallet, and then I have other people that come about telling me, "Well, you know them blue people ain't no good. They stole your wallet. You know they stole your wallet. Them ain't none of them blue people no good." That's terrible. That's terrible. So basically, I'm supposed to hate every blue person because one blue person stole my wallet. So every blue person that I come in contact with, I'm not gonna like. I'm gonna have an ill feel about this blue person. Think about that for a second. Now, what if same situation, same scenario, a blue person stole my wallet? And I go to my friend, I say, "Man, listen, man, that blue person stole my wallet. They ain't no good." And they said, "No, no, 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 no. Hold on, hold on, hold on, Raheem. Hold on, Raheem. You can't judge every blue person on what that blue person did to you." Because my car was broken down one day in the middle of nowhere. And this blue person came up. The only person that came up to help me was a blue person. Am I to think that that blue person is terrible? That's the person that came to help me. If I was in other situations, and then somebody else come along and say, "Yeah, man, I was so blase," and this blue person came and helped me, man. My car was knocked down and whatever it is. And so my thing is this, and the phone lines are open. I certainly want you all to call in 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. I definitely want you all to call in and tell me what you think, man. This thing called racism is a terrible thing. It really is. It's a terrible thing. And my question is, what do we need to do? What can we collectively do to get away from this thing called racism where we can love each other? One of the greatest commandments that's ever given is to love one another. Why is it so hard for us to get there? Why is it so hard for us to get to the place where we can love, honor, and respect each other, regardless of the race, creed, color, or ideology, or whatever it is, or your spiritual belief, whatever it is, regardless of what it is? Why can't we just love each other? What is stopping us from doing that? What is stopping us from doing that? I want to play this clip, and it talks about systematic racism and how that works. Let me see, can I pull this clip up? Because there's so many different levels to this thing, man. There's so many different levels, and my thing is, I want to be able to talk about a few of them. I'm not gonna be here long. Actually, I got some other things I should be doing right now, but I wanted to come on and talk to you for a few minutes, and excuse me, and just see what your heart is on this whole situation. This is a video that I'm going to play for you. It's talking about systematic racism. If you don't mind, give this a listen, and I will come back and we'll continue the conversation. I'm going to keep my little face on the screen here. I may take myself off. I don't know. But here you go. Y'all take a listen to this right here.
You might think racism in the US is really a case of a few bad apples. A racist cop here, a so called Karen there, a leader of a white supremacist group. You know, people who deliberately hate. But we can't blame racism in America on just a few bad apples. Think of our nation's problem as more like an apple pie, with the racial injustice baked right into every aspect of our society. Meet Ebony and Emily, two American babies, one black, one white, born at the same time, same place, but Ebony will not get an equal slice of the pie, and that starts from birth. Because of her race, Ebony is 3 times more likely than Emily to die in the hospital as a newborn if her doctor is white. And once Ebony and Emily go to school, while both girls occasionally misbehave, studies show they won't face the same punishment. Ebony is 7 times more likely than Emily to be suspended, and 4 times more likely to be arrested on campus. When the 2 girls grow up and apply for jobs, odds are fewer employers will call Ebony back because she has a black-sounding name. And even though Emily and Ebony will get the same college degree, once Ebony is hired statistically as a black person, she'll make an average of 25% less than Emily. So why didn't Ebony get an equal slice of that apple pie? It's because systemic racism is built into our country's DNA. In the 17th and 18th centuries, wealthy white men needed land, so they took it from indigenous people and then forced blacks into slavery. To justify using blacks for free labor, the whites in power promoted a myth that blacks were inferior. And as Seattle-based author Ijoma Oluo points out, our nation's institutions, politics, and policies were designed against the backdrop of that money-driven lie that black people just weren't as worthy or as capable as whites.
Our school systems were built around this, our economic systems are built around this, our government systems were built around this. And it is simply that things were designed to uphold this story, to uphold this exploitation.
And even though slavery ended here more than 150 years ago, the racism that fueled it persists in systemic ways today. White Americans now hold 85% of this country's wealth, Black Americans just over 4%, and Hispanics just over 3%. People of color, people like Ebony, are statistically more likely to be impoverished, incarcerated, and face discrimination in healthcare. Emily may have her own barriers in life, but her skin color won't be one of them.
It's not someone said, here's your wealth because you're white. Here's your status because you're white. It simply means that the barriers that we placed in front of people of color were not placed in front of you. Now, you may have a whole nother set of barriers, right? You may have barriers of disability, barriers of class, barriers of immigration status, so many other barriers that were placed in front of you. But acknowledging privilege is simply acknowledging if we also took that other set of barriers that we place in front of people of color, you would stumble even further.
So even though you may not consider yourself a bad apple, a racist cop, a so-called Karen, or a member of an extremist group, Oluo says you may have played a role, even if you have the best intentions.
Instead of this whole, let's all learn to be best friends and love each other, you can love someone of a different race and ethnicity and still actively participate in their oppression based on how you vote, based on what you bring up in your office meetings, based on where you spend your money.
It's not too late to change the recipe of the most American apple pie.
Wow. How do we do that? How do we change that recipe? Is it possible, or is it way too late? Do we discard? Do we, or should we totally discard the pie that's been cooked and prepared? Throw it away, all elements of it, and start fresh. Start fresh with new apples. They said something about even voting and how you vote, how your vote could affect this thing called systematic racism. That's something that's innocent. You vote for who you want to vote for, right? You have the right to vote for who you want to vote for. That's what it's for. That's the design of it. People say that, we have the right to vote. And you do. You absolutely do have the right to vote. And you do have the right to vote for who you want to vote for. But whoever you vote for, are they contributing to this thing called systematic racism, or racism as it is? Are they contributing to that? Or are they fighting and combating that? If your vote is for somebody that you know, even though you're not doing it yourself, even though you're not doing it yourself, but if your vote is a vote for someone that you know is pushing this narrative, pushing this agenda, pushing this mindset, and not doing anything to try to get it away from us so that we can all get together and successfully be successful, and everybody have a fair and equal chance and opportunity. If your vote is for somebody that you know does not have the best intentions for everybody involved, then are you or are you not still a part of this thing called systematic racism? Is your vote for or against this thing called systematic racism? Is your vote for or against it? Because though you may not do anything, you may never be a person that try to hold anybody back, but your vote can. Because if you're voting for someone that is pushing this narrative, if you're voting for someone that's pushing this agenda, if you're voting for someone that does not have the best at heart for everybody, then though you're not doing it yourself, though it's not your hands that's doing it, you're still doing it. You're still a part of it. You're still a part of it. So shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. I told you I wasn't going to be before you long. It's almost been it's actually almost been, well, it's been 20 minutes now. And I'm gonna stay here for 10 more. I'm gonna stay here for 30 minutes. And so what I want to do right now is open up the phone lines. I'm open up the phone lines. The number is 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. If you have any thoughts, ideas, if you think that I'm totally wrong, if you think that I'm totally wrong in my opinion, my views, give me a call. Let me know. My thing is, I want it to go away. I want this thing called racism to go away. I may be foolish in my thoughts. I may be foolish in even thinking this. I may be foolish, but I'm foolish enough to believe, and I'm foolish enough to hope, and I'm foolish enough to pray that one day it will go away. As I said earlier, I have grandkids. I would love to have them to grow up in a world where this thing don't exist any longer. Where my grandsons and my granddaughters, they could actually come outside the house and be outside the house and go where they want to go freely and not have to worry about racist police officers, people not giving them the right opportunities that they want. They go to school and they get the diplomas, like you saw in the clip. They go to school and they get the diploma. They get everything that they need. They do things the right way, but still there's something holding them back and them not be able to understand or recognize what it is. I tell you what it is. It's systematic racism. It's systematic racism. And they said in the clip again, I keep going back to the clip because it's true what they said. I love how they put that clip together. That's why I wanted to come. When I saw it, I said, I got to do something on that. I got to do something right now. I should be doing something else at this particular moment. I'm supposed to be doing something else. But I wanted to come and talk to you all. And hopefully something that I say will move you in some kind of way where you will vote better, talk better, think better, and do better. My thing is, if even in your workplace or wherever you are, if you see something that you know is not right, if you see something that looks to be racist to you or have a stink of racism on it, do you speak on it? Or do you just look, turn and walk away? You just look, walk, and turn away and walk away. Then if you're not a part of the solution, guess what? You are certainly a part of the problem. If you're not a part of the solution, then you are a part of the problem. You may as well have been the very person that performed the act if you don't speak out. Because you could be the very person that could speak out and say something about it. And then other people that wanted to speak up and say something about it will come to your side, to your aid, and to the aid of the individual that is happening to. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care whether you're black, white, orange, polka dot, or lily striped. If I see an injustice, I'm gonna speak on your behalf. I'm going to speak on your behalf. Nah, don't do that to them. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. And now it possibility there'll be two of us in that situation, you and I. We make it through. We make it through together. If we don't, we don't. But I cannot be the one to just turn and walk away and act as though it does not exist. I can't be the one to do that. Can you? Can you be that person? Can you be that guy that just turn and walk away like it doesn't exist? Can you be that guy? Can you be that girl? If you see something going on wrong, even if the only thing you do is call the police, and hopefully you get a good cop that will come and do something about it. If that's all that you do, that's something. That is something. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Asking the question. This thing called racism. What do we need to do to get away from it? How can we curb this situation? We've had people live and people died. Lived and died fighting this thing called racism, speaking out against this thing called racism. So when I say that, I ask you this question: are you afraid? Because somewhere I read where it says if a person don't have anything to live for, how the thing go? I can't think of how it go down. I shouldn't even throw it out there because I don't even know how it go. But you know what I mean. Don't y'all laugh at me. Y'all know what I mean. Stop laughing at me. Y'all something else. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Let us hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. We got quite a few people that's actually coming into the room right now. Glad to have each and every one of you. Gerald Briscoe, good to have you. Joanne, good to have you. I missed a lot of y'all. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. I'm just into the conversation right now. And I wanted to have an opportunity to really talk to each and every one of you and give you an opportunity to hear my heart on this. Racism to me is a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And unless or until we do something about it collectively, unless or until we do something about it, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Have anything ever happened to you? Have you ever had a racist encounter? Black, white, orange, polka dot, illustrate, whatever you are. Have you had an orange? Wow. Have you had a racist encounter? Have you ever had a racist encounter? Have anything ever happened to you that you know just wasn't right? And it was basically based on the color of your skin. I heard somebody say that acts of racism cannot happen to our Caucasian brothers and sisters. Well, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. It can happen to them as well. Racism is racism, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter what your color is. It happens more often to us, and I'll be the first one to admit it happens more often to us. 99.999% of the time, it happens more to us than to do other people. But that's not to say that it does not happen to them as well. It's not to say that. I mean, racism is racism. If you hate somebody based on the color of their skin, that's racism. If you treat somebody different because of the color of their skin, that's racism.